Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of SHX, the road to $3.33. My name is CryptoBanker SHX. For those who are not familiar with myself, I am the SHX Maxi OG, having started the first ever dedicated account to SHX back in the summer of 2023. And from that, as I say, I've been helping build the community of strongholders, and I am running, as I say, this daily crypto show until SHX hits $3.33. And today we will be looking at XDC. But before that, and going through the usual daily crypto news, I just want to say thank you because we had episode 2, which was the first episode to be streamed across X and YouTube. And on X, we had over 650 people listening live, which is insane. So thank you for all the support. And actually now, 24 hours later, we have generated over 5,000 views for yesterday's episode across YouTube and X. So that's fantastic. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for your support. Also, an update, we will be streaming on Twitch now. So if you are viewing us on Twitch, welcome. As I say, the shows will be broadcast live every day, Monday to Saturday, at the exact same time every day. Depending on where you are in the world, you can see the times there. And it will be across X, YouTube, and now Twitch, which is fantastic. And so really just looking at crypto today in regards to the markets, the fear and greed index is 68. As we go down, we can see that Bitcoin is just under $118,500. Ethereum has just jumped then to $3,239, and things dipped a little bit, and now they seem to be going back up. And I think that there was a lot of kind of confusion. I'm kind of ahead of America, and so I woke up to the news that things weren't getting passed in regards to the Genius Act, and my initial thoughts were sort of, here we go again. But as I say, if you look at the Bitcoin, you'll see that it's doing something very interesting at the moment, and it's actually breaking down. This is on the daily. If we look at the weekly, and I think we've actually just hit that within the last hour, it has started to nosedive. This is the monthly, and this is the 6 months. And so, as I say, we're kind of like around the time for potentially a breakdown, and that timing couldn't come any better, really, because, as I say, we've had a big move up in regards to Bitcoin. Midterm, it's trying to target sort of 140. I think that in the next couple of months, we're going to sort of see a 140, 150 BTC. And the results of that are obviously going to be that the markets are hopefully going to send. Now, if we look at, for example, what's leading the drive and what's leading the markets, we have here XRP. And what's interesting, and I was just putting the charts together for the show today, and it's something that won't be new to the people that follow SHX and XRP and XLM, and know that they kind of sit in a trinity, because when you look at the charts today, they're very, very, very similar. Here we have Stellar, which is kind of like following the same as XRP and having a little bit of dip here, and into Stronghold as well. Again, pretty much like the same pattern. But like I say, I woke up to this, and for some reason there seems to be some confusion between the people who sit in Congress and vote on these things, which is a little bit concerning, but not surprising, right? So they were going on these people about a not wanting a government-controlled central bank digital currency, which seems a little bit silly, really, because I think there's part of it that bans, like part of that legislation. There's three parts. Part of it actually bans a CBDC. So what's happened now? And again, this is why you have to be careful in regards to who you follow, who you look at when it comes to crypto, because various people will jump upon that and say it's going into a bear market and all the usual doom and gloom, when actually they don't have an understanding of what they're talking about, or they've just been sidelined and they're kind of waiting for that perfect drop, which probably potentially will never come, right? So then you have Trump, and what's Trump done? Well, he's got 11 of the 12 congressmen and women necessary to pass the Genius Act, and he's had a short discussion with them. He's obviously said, "What do you want?" And they've told him, and he said, "Yeah, let's do it," because that's how politics works, unfortunately. And he sorted it. So therefore, what will happen now is that it's looking as though the Genius Act will now go through and be signed at hopefully some point today, which when that news breaks, again, will it be positive, or will it be a case of a case of sell the news event? It's hard to tell. I mean, they are. This is sort of the paradigm shift, and so traditionally, usually when there's positive news, whether XRP has something, a partnership or an approval, for example, or there's just normal positive news within the market. Usually, then everyone goes long, and suddenly the market makers come after that liquidity. I think it's a little bit different this time. I think that although they can push the markets and they can control it, they can't do it in the way that they've been doing it for the last sort of 6-7 months, shall we say, and that we've seen that. And I think that it's getting to a point in which you're seeing the transition with Bitcoin, and this has already happened, in my opinion, and will only get greater in relation to the banks and Wall Street in particular, and BlackRock taking over BTC. Now, you have conflicting stories here, because the market makers really want a bear market. They want to hold the assets down as much as possible, shake as many people out, and really, as I say, have those sort of false breakouts, liquidate everyone, as many people as possible. And we've seen it in sort of the Wycliffe chart formation that BTC has been doing, because that's the max pain for retail, right? And that model extracts the maximum amount of money out of the market for the people that run it. But now, especially with Binance, and Binance got kicked out of the US. And for anyone who doesn't really understand how the markets work in regards to price action, it's never anyone sort of selling as such. So it's not you and me selling. It's not like I've sold and then someone else sees that I've sold, and suddenly there's a cascade effect. What it's linked to is market makers. And so what they do is they hold customer funds, and then they use those customer funds to manipulate the leverage. So Binance used customer funds illegally, allegedly, to control and manipulate the price of primarily Bitcoin, because the dominance is so high on Bitcoin that any effect in price will make other cryptocurrencies drop in price. But to be honest, that's all an AI system. So BlackRock have something called Aladdin, and they've had it for a number of years. In regards to artificial intelligence and how that manipulates the markets, like everything can't just go up and down at the same time, right? All kind of synced. So there's effectively an AI system which is monitoring a vast amount of data And that's pulled from various sources. So say, for example, it's not just sort of looking at the market cap of something and the price of Bitcoin. It's looking at not only the leverage positions and the liquidity available to potentially steal, shall we say, from people, but also it's looking at social interactions as well. And so these types of systems are plugged in directly to what you would, I suppose, call a mainframe in regards to the internet. I think something like 90% or 95% of the internet isn't actually visible unless you sort of go and go on the dark web, right? So you have Google, who control everything that people see, and that's how they control the internet. So as I say, these systems are watching your reactions and interactions as well in terms of social media, what people are saying, and it's taking all that data, and then from that, as I say, it's really deciding where to go. But short term, price wise, in terms of price action, it's usually driven by these pockets of liquidity that it's trying to hunt down. Now, with Binance, I think the problem they have is they've almost done too much in the US, and they're not allowed there now. I don't think regulations will potentially allow them back in. They're not a private business, so they don't have to share anything with anyone. They're not under obligation to share information. And what Binance do as a market maker is they use offshore exchanges, market making exchanges, such as Wintermute. And they send customer assets to Wintermute, and then Wintermute sell them at the opportune time to crash. And what happens is people have stop losses on leverage, they all get triggered, and you have a cascade effect. And that's why you see such volatile moves on these digital assets. It's nothing to do with you or I selling them. It's like people say, even large accounts, and it's like it's criminal, like that they don't understand what they're actually talking about. As I say, the fact is that they use customer funds to manipulate the price, and that is very easy when volumes tend to be low and you don't have that concentration of retail interest. So say, for example, in a bull run, it becomes increasingly difficult for Binance to manipulate the price of an asset because they have other exchanges as well, and as well as their own, and they're having new people come in and buy that up. So it's not just your usual suspects, which is us, well, usually us, right? Who've been in crypto for years and sort of seen this this play out, not for the first time. But really, that's how, as I say, that works. What is positive about the US House Financial Services Committee chairman saying that they have enough votes to advance a cryptocurrency, the cryptocurrency related bills, is the fact that that should, with the power of Wall Street acquiring Bitcoin in the speed that it is, and having and holding the majority of the asset versus, say, for example, Binance, Wall Street want the theme of it's a store of value. And when you think about traditional people buying stocks, they'd be happy with a 5 to 10% return. Like that's their standard, and they'd be happy. Now with the ETFs, you're seeing old money and sort of traditional investors come into this space. And let me tell you something. These people who view a 10% return annually as very good, when they get into the likes of Bitcoin, we're all used to this, whereby you can put a leverage trade on or you can buy a spot trade and suddenly that asset doubles in price. And it can happen within an hour, within a day, sometimes within minutes, right? These people are not used to those gains. So what they're going to do, and all of them have bought in with the ETFs, is when it starts going up, they're going to buy more. And what's happening with this legislation in the US, part of it means that people can utilize Bitcoin and start to potentially stake it and things like that, and also borrow against it. And when you have certain models like that, it means that regardless of how much you can try and control that asset, you're having actually what you would call a natural market accumulation. So, as I say, the people that have got in on these ETFs who are traditional investors who maybe haven't gone into crypto because it's too risky, and now it's all institutionalized and they're comfortable, obviously, with the custody of the assets, etc. And it's not a scam, and they've figured it out. From that, as I say, if they see the returns and they've entered, especially in the last couple of months, and they've got in at say 80k Bitcoin, and suddenly then it's sat at 120 and they've seen a 50% return, they'll buy more. And so, as I say, the reason I'm sharing this information is I believe that the manipulation will stop to a degree. There's going to be a point where they just can't really hold it back any longer. And also, there's things to take into account in the future, like the way in which market caps are calculated. At the moment, it's very much driven by the price and what people are willing to pay for it. But when you start to tokenize assets and when you start to have liquidity pools and really attach these assets to real world utility, from that, then, as I say, this manipulation by Binance will go somewhere else. I believe that what they're doing is they're repositioning themselves and aligning themselves to be the powerhouse outside of the US. The US is Coinbase's. That's done. Like, it belongs to Coinbase and Circle. But outside of the US, if we look at, say, for example, Southeast Asia, where you have Velo Protocol coming along, well, if you look at their partnerships with Lightnet, you'll realize the connections with Binance. And from that, as I say, what we're going to see is the Lightnet and particularly Velo protocol become merged to a degree with Binance. So I think the key to success um, for Binance outside of the US is potentially the Velo protocol. And something else to really sort of keep an eye on at the moment is Jerome Powell, because he's about to be fired. And when that happens, that should send the markets anyway, because yeah, he's been a complete hindrance to the growth of the US. I mean, what you're watching unfold is really theatre anyway. I find it just a little bit amusing, but what I'm interested in is the result of him, as I say, like being fired, because when that happens, it will be very much a signal, and it's combined with these events that are going on with the Genius Act, and so everything is pretty much lining up um, to a point in which yeah we've never seen before. And I always, I mean, I compared SHX to buying XRP and XLM back in, before they had even seen a cent. But like I say, you'll see people saying it's like 2017, it's like 2021. I would actually say it's just like 2025. Like, people in years to come will actually speak about this moment, like people speak about 2017. Yeah, it's just a Pandora's box moment. And I think that, like I say, once power goes, once you have the Genius Act in place, another thing to think about is what that stablecoin regulation does to money that's tied up within banks, and how, for example, the Fed is going to allow them to potentially allocate money that is stuck into stablecoins, which again would be a massive wave of liquidity into the markets. And really, when you look at, say, for example, the global money supply, the M2 supply, there is that correlation between the money supply and risk assets increasing. So that's very, very interesting. And something, as I say, I think there's just going to be a multitude of different events. And at some point, it's going to be kind of undeniable that we're in a bull run. At the moment, people can still kind of question it. I mean, they've been questioning it since Bitcoin was like 23K or 20K and started to move. But I think there'll be a point when even the strongest of bears won't be able to deny exactly where we are, and that is in the midst of a huge bull run. And so today I wanted to cover XDC. I know that when I logged onto X, they were actually doing a Spaces. And so anyone who is interested in XDC, please do. If you're not already on there live, maybe check that out after. But looking at the price, and this is sort of the whole price chart for XDC. As you'll see, they started back in 2018. Nothing happened for a couple of years. I actually initially heard about them. It was around February 2021. When it was around sort of a cent, and they jumped to 2 cents. But like many assets, obviously it's gone up, it's gone down. But what sets it apart from others is really there's certain digital assets which you can clearly see have been planned and designed to take on a certain aspect of finance. Now, with XDC, they've been going for what now, 7 years? And really, what they were wanting to do is be a transformative force within blockchain. And so the XDC network was created by XFIN, which is short for Exchange Infinite. And it's a hybrid L1 designed to really, again, bridge the gap between traditional finance and the blockchain technology that is coming in. So this is a enterprise grade blockchain. And what's interesting about XDC is it has been, in my personal opinion, and again, everything that I share on these lives, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is purely for entertainment purposes only, but there are certain cryptos which are enterprise designed for enterprise. Now, these guys have really gone after the tokenization of trade. And so there is, in trade finance, a $19 trillion industry. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to disrupt that as much as possible. So really addressing, like you'll see with these enterprise grade digital assets, like the likes of XLM, XRP, they're trying to really address real world challenges. And so trade finance itself is very, very difficult. It has a lot of paper-based processes. It usually has very high costs, and it tends to have limited access to liquidity. So particularly for the likes of a small or medium-sized enterprise, they struggle with those issues. So what they're doing is they're tokenizing a lot of the things within trade finance to bring about that speed, the settlement time improvements, and really it meets the ISO 20022 standards. It has native smart contract capabilities, and all of these things are the things that you would be looking for within a project. It has a very strong community. It has a number of really big influencers who have pushed it for a number of years, and rightly so as well. I think that personally, this is one of those blockchains which is chosen to do great things. And when you're actually looking at the price of things, XDC is interesting because when you look at it, you'll see that the market cap, although it's 1.25 billion, when you understand the use case and the use cases and really what these guys are doing, it is designed to operate at a much higher level and a much higher price point, and it has to be that to obviously be sufficient. Going down their website, and I haven't been on their website for a number of years, it's very interesting the various different pictures that they choose to use. But like I say, these guys are enterprise, and so they've been doing some very interesting things over the years, but also acquiring a number of recognitions and awards. And so, like I say, I think that when looking around, especially within this time, I mean, say pre-regulation, like how long is that going to last? A number of hours. But pre-regulation, now, if you're sort of looking around, or you're potentially maybe new to this space, then like I say, XDC is very much on the status of the likes of XRP, XLM, for example. And there isn't really, I suppose what I'm saying is there isn't really much time left, because once regulations come into play, a lot of these businesses, like I say, they've been going since 2018 and nothing happened price-wise for the first 2 years. And most people would say, well, it's a dead project, it's not doing anything. It's like, well, a lot of these projects, they had to come about years and years before the tech was ready, the world was ready, the banks were ready, right? And so it's really, really encouraging when you have that history of a blockchain. Also, it's L1, which is a massive tick. But like I say, they just keep building and building. And so if you are looking around at potential opportunities, you'll see that, as I say, when it comes to XDC, they've done the work, they've laid the foundations, and now there are a handful of projects which meet these regulatory frameworks and compliance qualifications to be allowed to then operate in a post-regulation world. And so, like I say, these people, it's no surprise that they're at the New York Stock Exchange, that they're already aligned with all of the industry players. And the most interesting time is now, because when regulations pass in the US, which is hopefully like within hours, you're going to witness, and we're all going to witness this, the NDAs being lifted on all of these businesses. So everything that they've been doing for the last 6, 7 years, all of the secret partnerships, all of the secret business and deals that they've done, maybe not the details, but the partnerships especially will all come to the forefront. And then it's like what people refer to as a Big Bang moment, because things are then really being utilized as they were. I think that it's interesting when it comes to regulations, because it gives companies the time before regulation to really build everything that they need to then be fully functional when that regulation comes in, if you see what I mean. And the longer that regulation takes, the more impressive and more interconnected and better these and more efficient these businesses come. And I've been here since sort of 2020. Regulations have always been expected and always spoken about. But I don't think if you spoke to anyone sort of in 2020 and they said, how long will regulations really take in the US, that we wouldn't have expected them to take this long. But now that they're here, it means that, as I say, these chosen projects, and they are chosen, this isn't down to chance. They haven't gone, here's the new financial system, we'll just see who builds it and then go with it. No, 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 no. They've been selected almost decades ago. And so when we're looking at potentially what XDC will do in the future, here from Crypto Ninja, this is sort of the best and I suppose most realistic chart I could find. I think for short term, like the market cap is currently at 1.25 billion. To get to that 36, what is it? 8. So it would be quick math 5. So yeah, about 4.7, 4.8x. Can you see XDC at what, 5 billion, 6 billion market cap? Easily. This thing will send to the hundreds of billions if it does exactly what it's designed to do, and they do exactly what they say they're going to do, which I believe that there's no reason to believe that they're not going to. Then, as I say, it should fly. And I think that over the next couple of months as well, especially, it's going to be very difficult in a good way, because for most people, they are in various a number of different assets, right? They're not just all in one. And what's going to happen is they'll all start popping off at once, and then it's like, okay, which one do I potentially take profits on? And I mean, it's a great position to be in. But yeah, I think that's potentially a little bit of an issue for some people. I know that when back in 21, I had over, I think, about 50 cryptos, and I used to wake up in the morning and I would spend the first probably 40 minutes just checking them all. It's ridiculous. But it's awesome when they all, as I say, increase. And it's a good problem to have. In relation to what XDC are doing, you'll see the co-founder here. And again, they're at the New York Stock Exchange. Like, it's all happening. And it's so, I think it's so unique to witness this. No one's ever witnessed this before in relation to the time that we're living in. And I'm just really excited. But I'm the most excited about Stronghold, because, like I say, and Velo as well, the market caps are so low that experiencing an asset go from sort of the 100 billions into the multi-billions and then multi-tens of billions, it's something which it's very, very rare. But think, in my own personal opinion, that's really what we're about to see, and there's going to be a number of selected projects that just really exceed all expectations. And that's really it on XDC. As I say, they do have a Spaces. So after this, if you haven't already, then do go check that out. If you are interested in SHX, then and you are on X, then please do join our community over there. We now have over 2,600 members, which is phenomenal. If I think back to when I started, there used to be about maybe two posts or one post a day on SHX, and yeah, now we've got 2,600 community members on X. It's awesome, and we also have some very smart and very intelligent community members as well that share some fantastic research, and they're also not as biased as me towards Stronghold, so they do also share sometimes other projects as well, which most of the time usually turn out to be gems. So as I say, please do come and join us. I will be back tomorrow for episode 4. I am open to suggestions in regards to what to cover on tomorrow's show. So as I say, I'll see exactly what you guys are saying. Someone did ask me to cover Casper, but I would just have to go away and sort of refresh myself on Casper, because the last time I remember it was there was something going on. But as I say, if you do have any suggestions of projects for me to cover in the daily shows, please do message me or drop a comment. If you have been listening on Twitch, then welcome. As I say, we will be streaming across X, YouTube, and now Twitch as well. And I am working on potentially Instagram, going live on Instagram as well. So in regards to schedules of what's coming up, because we are on Monday to Saturday every day, I will be working. I am actively working on a schedule, and I will be looking to release a 2-week schedule in advance, so you guys know exactly who's going to be on and what's coming up. But yeah, if you have liked the show and liked the content, please do subscribe if you haven't already. Please do follow, like, share, tell your friends and family, like, tell everyone, especially about Stronghold, because like I say, we're right at the beginning, and we're still incredibly early. I will see all you guys on the next one tomorrow. If it is the start of your day, have a fantastic day. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're all good. And as I say, I'll see you guys all tomorrow.